Welcome back to my video series on traveling in Italy. This video I want to talk about the city of Verona. So I went to Verona for several reasons, one of which is the association that city has with so much of Shakespeare's work. I'm not sure that Shakespeare was ever there, but it was actually rather interesting to go there and see the way tourists behaved and what is there to see. And I actually recommend Verona. I would put it in my top 5, at least top 10 places to go in Italy for the following reasons. Despite this other reason. So we'll do the weird one first, then we'll do the reasons why I like it. So there's a museum there and a place that ostensibly has something to do with Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. There's a place where they've got the balcony and a museum about, Juliet's burial place. And I remember getting there, looking at it, going, Juliet is a fictitious character. She doesn't exist. And I went near the museum hoping that I could see the balcony without paying to go in, and you can't. It's in an inner courtyard. So I just kept walking because there's no point in going to see a random balcony that Shakespeare probably never saw, that he didn't write about, that might have even not existed in the 1600s for a character that doesn't even exist. But there was a lot of other stuff there that actually is rather fascinating. So there's a famous plaza there in downtown Verona, and I think it's called Piazza Erbe. So there's stuff right there that's really cool to see. There's the Chiesa de Santa Maria Antica. It's just north of the Casa de Giulietta Museum. There's another plaza next to it, the Plaza dei Signori, the Plaza of Two Gentlemen. It has a statue of Dante in it, so there's some other literary associations there. The Piazza Erbe has a market in it at Christmas time. There's a tower there that was closed, 2 towers there that you can climb. I didn't go in either one of them because it was a really, really sunny day, and I was there in the early afternoon, so I wouldn't have been able to see very much. But just to the northeast of that is the old Roman bridge, which is worth seeing, and the Roman theater across the river. The river is pretty cool. The Adige River there. That bridge is actually really sad because the Romans built it, and you can see on the north side of the river the part that's the Roman part, and then the south part closer to the old town is obviously been repaired because in World War II the United States Army Air Corps hit it and damaged it. So it's actually kind of sad, but it is what it is. And then across the river, there's a Roman theater that's what's left of the Roman theater in Verona. That part of it, the upper part that you recognize from most of the theaters, has been converted into a monastery. So you can actually see some of the archways in it that are preserved in the outer wall construction of the monastery. That I think was €8 to see. And then Verona has a Coliseum as well. It's probably the second best looking Coliseum in Italy. It's not as high. Would have been about the same size as the one in Rome. It only has 2 concourses of archways, and then almost all of the outer walls are bladed. It's €12 to see, so it's pretty spendy compared to the one in Rome in terms of what you get to see. But if you're in the area or you don't want to go to Rome, Verona, you can see all the Roman Empire things except for the Forum. And that Coliseum in Verona, they're going to do the closing ceremony of the Olympics there. When I was there, they were doing some sort of a festival. There was a ginormous Christmas market going on in the Plaza della Colossum there. There's also a fortress there along the river with the city's other original bridge, which is a fortified bridge, which is really cool to see. It's Castelvecchio, old castle. There's also an arch there, the Arco di Gavi. I didn't look up what that was. It kind of looks like a Roman arch that's just randomly sitting there near the river. But and then of course there's some medieval city gates. But I felt like I saw real Italy here, like the mixture of every phase of Italy here. There's a mixture of Roman buildings that obviously they care about and have monetized and didn't destroy. as well as their medieval heritage and the modern heritage. And so if I were to only send you to one city to see Italy, I would actually send you to Verona, because you can see the literary references, the Roman architecture, the medieval architecture, and the modern uh, movement around in the city. There's also a market there somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And I made a friend there. So I make a friend on almost every trip in Europe. Andrea Lamberti. So I've got a picture of him. His wife, Argentinian woman, took our picture. When I didn't know the Italian words, I'd speak Spanish to her. Everyone thought that was hilarious because neither of them spoke English. So I was able to have this, trilingual conversation on the plaza there next to the Coliseum. So I've got a picture of him and me next to the Coliseum that I'm actually kind of proud of, that I was able to make a friend. And he invited me to go for a cappuccino, which I don't drink. So we had a conversation instead, and we talked about our love for Tyrolia. He loves the Tyrolean Alps, which is not that far away from Verona. Verona is a junction where the trains either go east and west or north and south up into Tyrolia and into Austria. So there's a good deal of foot traffic there. So the castle's a museum, but you can see the castle without paying to go into the museum, because the bridge is actually a bridge that people walk across. You can't drive across it. So you can see the outside of the castle, the bridge, and the city from across the river, which I actually recommend. The lighting again was bad that day, but I liked Verona. I'm glad of the time I got to spend there, and I'm glad I made a friend there, and it was definitely worth the trip in terms of how much there is there to see real Italian people. Now, of course, you're not going to see like the island Italian or the coastal Italian, but in terms of Piedmont Italian, especially the Lombard region that was taken by the Lombards after the Roman Empire collapsed, it's probably one of the most best preserved sections of Italy for that, where it doesn't have a ton of modern buildings in it. Like Milan. Milan has a ton of modern architecture, modern construction in it. And so I felt like Verona was more of the Italy I expected to see. Of course, Venice has its own things, but Verona was the Italy I expected to see. And things there were relatively affordable, although more expensive than its comparable equivalents in Rome. So if you get a chance to go to Verona, just make sure you don't get caught up in the hoopla about the Casa de Giulietta, because Juliet was never living there. Juliet never lived at all. But I hope you do, and I hope you live well. Godspeed.